Viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe. Watu wote, viumbe vyote, awaye yote, sifu Mungu. Watu wote, viumbe vyote, awaye yote, sifu Mungu.
All creatures of our God and King,
sifuni Mungu.
Lift up your voice and with us sing.
Sifuni Mungu.
Thou burning sun with golden beam,
Imbeni,
thou silver moon with softer gleam.
pazeni sauti, imbeni, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu.
Thou rushing wind that art so strong,
sifuni Mungu.
ye clouds that sail in heaven along.
Sifuni Mungu.
Thou rising morn in praise rejoice,
Imbeni,
ye lights of evening find a voice.
pazeni sauti, imbeni, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu. The flowing waters pure and clear, make music for thy Lord to hear. The fires are masterful and bright in Beni, that give us men both warmth and light. Beni, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu, pazeni sauti, pazeni sauti, tusifu Mungu. Let all things that Creator bless, sifuni Mungu, and worship Him in humbleness. Sifuni Mungu. Oh, praise the Father, praise the Son, imbeni, and praise the Spirit, three in one. Pazeni sauti, imbeni, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, viumbe vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe, pazeni sauti ili nasi mwimbe. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu. Amen. Watu wote, all creatures, viumbe vyote, everybody, awaye yote, praise the Lord, sifu Mungu. Sifuni Mungu, sifuni Mungu, sifuni Mungu, tusifu Mungu. Sifuni Mungu, sifuni Mungu, sifuni Mungu, tusifu Mungu, tusifu Mungu, pazeni sauti na wote imbeni, sifuni Mungu. Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home when Jesus is my portion? Whoa, my constant friend is He, constant friend. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. Because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow. It's on the sparrow. I know He watches over me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. Let no
Good morning, Unity. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. We're going to stay in this jazz spot for the whole service. There was a time when peace was on the earth, and joy and happiness did reign, and each man knew his worth. In my heart, how I yearn for that spirit's return, and I cry as time goes by. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. There is a place where love forever shines, and rainbows are the shadows of a love so divine, and the glow of that love lights the sky up above, and it's free. Come with me, can't you see? The Creator has a master plan, peace and happiness for every man. The Creator has a working plan, peace and happiness for every man. The Creator makes but one demand, peace and happiness through all land. Yeah, the Creator has a master plan, peace and happiness for every man. The Creator has a working plan, peace and happiness for every man. The Creator makes but one demand, peace and happiness through all land. The power of love, the power of love, the power the power of love.
Great and glorious morning, everyone, and happy Father's Day. I am Reverend Cheryl McCullough, and welcome and thank you for worshiping with us on this glorious morning. As always, we are so grateful for our beloved musicians for sharing their talents and gifts of music and song with us. Don't forget to read the constant contact emails we send out, as they are packed with information about the various classes, workshops, and events we offer. And please, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel and Facebook page, do so. Our speaker today is known to many, as he has been with us before, Reverend James Trapp. Reverend Trapp is the Senior Minister of Worship and Community Outreach at Spiritual Life Center, Sacramento, California. In addition to guiding the spiritual direction of that sacred community, he is responsible for the creation and production of inspirational, high-energy, quality worship and special services for the entire congregation. He leads the charge for community outreach within Sacramento, building bridges between faith communities, and helping create a space to attract like-minded spirits to SLC. Before taking on the position at SLC, Reverend James was the president and CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries, the global association for the Unity Spiritual Communities. Prior to that, he served as senior minister at Unity on the Bay, a dynamic and inclusive spiritual community in South Florida. Reverend James Trapp has been recognized numerous times for his dedication to community, diversity, and tolerance. He is the recipient of the Humanitarian Award from the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. He has also been inducted into the Morehouse College's Martin Luther King Jr. International Board of Preachers. He's received an honorary doctorate in sacred theology from South Florida Theological Seminary and was awarded the key to the city of Miami. He is inspired by his lovely wife, Angela Trapp, and son, Jalen Mandela Trapp. Please give a Unity of Washington, D.C. welcome to Reverend James Trapp.
Greetings to my friends at the Unity of Washington, D.C., and friends from across the planet, because you may be tuning in from anywhere in the world. I want to thank Reverend Sylvia for inviting me to share with you on this special day, Father's Day. And I extend a happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are out there, as well as the mothers who have played that role, because I know many of you have. And I thank you, and we thank you. As I was contemplating about what to share with you today, I kept thinking about the line in 1 John that says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And later on in that scriptural reference, it says, "The Word became flesh." Now, when we read scriptures, we must put ourselves in the picture, because it's reflecting something about us. As it goes on to state in the book of Genesis, the first chapter and the 27th verse, that we are made in the image and likeness and out of God. And so we can say that we are the living word of God in us. And when we say that, we're saying there's a composite idea in the mind of God, meaning the qualities of the infinite are within all of us. The qualities of God that are of peace and love and joy and abundance and divine guidance and wisdom. And our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to bring those qualities out. And when we bring those qualities out, whatever we think we're lacking in our life, prosperity, health, wealth, joy, wisdom, harmony, when we bring those qualities out, they manifest as our experience. As it says in the Gospel of Thomas, if you bring out that which is within you, it will save you. But if you do not bring out that which is within you, it will destroy you. In fact, some versions say it will kill you. Thus, this presence that we call God is waiting for a consciousness that's big enough, bold enough, courageous enough to manifest this living word on earth as it is in the mind of the infinite. So this is the essence of the topic for today, Father's Day. Dad is waiting. And we know that father is a symbolic structure of a spiritual principle. Not so much with gender, but a spiritual principle of masculine energy, and included in that energy are spiritual ideas, the seed thought of perfection. And when we understand that, we know that father represents that spiritual idea that Jesus said, "Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." He was exhorting us to be perfect, even as the spiritual idea held in the mind of God about us is perfect. The human part of us is not perfect, but there's a perfect aspect of our divinity that will always stay the same, yesterday, today, and forever. So he's saying in substance that you and I can bear witness to the spiritual idea of perfection that is always from the presence of God. So we understand, be ye perfect as the Father in heaven is perfect. In other words, we must see that Big Daddy is waiting for you, waiting for me to see if that child looks like him. That's what's going on here. In substance, the Spirit is saying, I have placed within you your being, wholly and completely my image and likeness. I planted that seed. I planted that germ idea. I planted that spiritual prototype. And I'm waiting for a birth. I'm waiting patiently and in waiting in eternity to see the birth of my child, of which we are. You know, God looking around, metaphorically, of course. If God were looking around the earth, and oftentimes he might see loss. He might see lack. He might see limitation. He might see impossibility thinking, might see a sense of separation, unforgiveness, resentment, violence, wars, and rumors of wars that are taking place all over the planet. And God is saying in substance, that's not my child. That child does not look like me. I'm not the father of that kid. That's what God is saying in substance. God is waiting to see something birthed that God injected into our soul. If we are to manifest this divine and perfect pattern, we must understand the difference between creation and creativity. Creation is bringing the visible into the visible form, and we're always creating something. Sometimes they're good things, sometimes they're not good things. But creativity is something different. It's the manifestation of the inspired wisdom of God in the human consciousness. It is commingling. It is co-partnering with the divine. It is co-partnering with the perfect ideas of spirit to be expressed in the most magnificent way. And so we may ask, how do we do this? Our key role is to stay inspired through prayer. We pray to see what God sees. We know what God knows. Understand, we're not here to pray for something in our life or in this world. We're here to pray with something, from something within us. Because if we're praying for something, we're saying we do not have it. It's outside of ourselves. We're keeping ourselves separate from it. But when we pray with the vibration of the very thing that we think we're lacking, then the very energy we're praying with manifests as our life. So we begin to proclaim. We begin to announce. We begin to pray with energy. I am the love I am seeking. I am the beauty I am looking for. I am all of my needs met. And I feel that. And as I feel that, that feeling tone demonstrates itself as our life experience in a most magnificent and miraculous way it may seem to us. I remember years ago when I was in my spiritual community and I was co-ministering with one of my mentors. And we had a very large facility, but very few people. But we decided that each day we were going to go into the sanctuary and envision and feel the vision that we wanted to have manifest as that community. And then it began to grow and grow and grow and grow into that energetic. We stayed inspired by the presence of God. We stayed inspired by that vision. And I believe this is what we want to do, is to stay inspired through our prayer, knowing that prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. And when it shows up in form, we may ask, how in the world did that happen? How did you do this? Someone may ask us. And we have to reply, we did not do anything. We just knew it. And in knowing it, it manifested. That's spiritual mysticism. That's reality. You know, one way of becoming practical spiritual mystics, one way of awakening to our oneness with God, which has created everything already, our oneness with love, our throwing our hearts open, throwing ourselves open to such a degree it renews us, revitalizes us, and lifts us. It is saying in substance to us, I make all things new. You can do the same. So we want to stay inspired through prayer, because every act of creation without inspired wisdom becomes troublesome. It becomes a form of structure that debilitates or is somehow ineffective. That's why it does not matter what's taking place on the outside. What matters is what's going on within us, and are we connecting with that spiritual essence? So we look around our lives, and individually and collectively, and we see things and we see forms birthed without spiritual connection, without spiritual creativity. And we end up materializing things based on fear and doubt and worry and sense of separation. There's no creative juice. God is nowhere in the picture. It kind of reminds me of a story about a little boy named Little Johnny. You may know about Little Johnny. You may have been Little Johnny or Little Johnny May, who knows. But anyway, Little Johnny was always getting into trouble. And as a result, his parents sent him to a church school, hoping that he would straighten up and fly right. And he had been there for a few days, and then one day the principal came to Little Johnny and called him into his office. And Little Johnny got a little nervous because he didn't know what he had done. And Little Johnny was told by the principal, just relax. I just want to ask you a few questions. And Johnny got a little stiff about wanting to know what he might be asking him. And the principal asked Little Johnny, where is God? And Little Johnny started sweating bullets. And the principal said, you know this. We've been teaching you this. Where is God? And Johnny started fidgeting and getting real nervous. And the principal asked again, where is God? The next thing you know, Little Johnny ran out the principal's office, was running down the hallway, and his little brother saw Little Johnny running, and they said, Little Johnny, what's wrong? What's going on? And Little Johnny said that God is missing, and they think I have him. Well, we know that God is never missing. But sometimes our prayers, we're missing God in it. And our role is to stay inspired through prayer. You know, the difficulty of walking through the world, well, sometimes we're swallowed up by the appearances. We get busy, And we say, I'll pray later. I'll pray when I get time. And when we do that, we end up fighting the world of appearances and promoting the very thing that we do not want to see. So our role is to stay inspired. As we understand that, as we understand the unseen spiritual ideas, we know that what we are seeking already exists. But we must be inspired to see it. And as you and I act in accordance with this spiritual co-creation, we bring forth through the act of our inspired action the most magnificent things in our life and in our world. In substance, we're hearing it's Father's Day, and the child looks like the Father when we're in tune with that presence. In other words, we are here to anchor on earth in literal form the spiritual ideas held in the mind of God. Make no mistake about it. God needs us to do this. There was a farmer who had a magnificent garden. It wasn't always that way. It was at the beginning, it was very disheveled, and the plants and the flowers were dying. But he worked at it, and he created this wonderful, wonderful garden of plants and flowers. And someone came along and saw the farmer and the great garden that he created and said to the farmer, "Man, isn't God great?" And the farmer said, "Yes, God is great. But you should have seen this garden when God had it all to himself." God needs us to be the co-creative agents to take us to the next step. He was saying in substance that we're here to enter a co-creative pact with a divine idea with the Father. He had to catch the idea and allow for his consciousness to be a conduit for transformation. As he brought that idea into form, he changed the very landscape of what we could see. He moved into an act of creativity from the point of divine inspiration. He was saying in substance that Jesus said, "I and my Father are one. When you see me, you see the presence that sent me." That's being present as the Father, Mother, God is perfect. This is how God sees us. And spiritual living God is waiting for us to see ourselves that way. Sometimes earthly fathers would see more in us than we see in ourselves. I remember when I was very young, I was in elementary school, and I had an assignment from my teacher. And that particular assignment was that I was supposed to write a poem, I should say. And I wasn't interested in poetry. I didn't know anything about poetry. I didn't really feel I could write a poem. And I'm struggling with this assignment. I'm at home, and my dad asked me about what I was doing, and I'm trying to do this stupid assignment, trying to write a poem. I don't know how to do this. And he said to me, "I believe you can do it. Don't you believe you can do it?" And I said, "Absolutely not. I can't do this." But what he said to me next really catapulted me to another level. He said, "Believe in my belief in you that you can do it." And so we kind of worked together and wrote together a poem, and ultimately it came out really well, and it was entered into a contest, and we got some sort of prize with his help. But I did the work because there was something that he believed in me that I can do. Now, some people may say, I do not have that example of a father on earth. I did not have that representation. He died early, or he left, or was abusive. I don't even know who he was. Whatever the case may be, we can still give thanks that we had a father if we did have that masculine energy and follow through. And I realized not everyone had that. But Jesus the Christ gave us another way to enter this kingdom when he said, "Call no one on earth your father." You have one Father, and that Father is in heaven. And this is the expanded reality. This is divine ideas that we can always tap into. And even if we did not have this symbolic structure on earth, You have the power to go back to the beginning. You have the power to transcend space and time. You have the power to go beyond history. You have the power to stop identifying yourself as fatherless and say, hey, I know who my Father is. My Father was here before the beginning of time because there had no beginning. There was no end to this presence. And it has always been there as our parent. I was in Nigeria many years ago, and a group of us went to an orphanage. And we were talking with one of the children that was there, and he was commiserating that he was an orphan. He didn't have any parents. And then we said to him that no matter what your earthly situation is, you always have one parent. And that parent is the presence of God. So you no longer want to go around saying that you're an orphan. You want to say, I am not an orphan. I am a child of God. And by the time we left, all the kids were saying, I am not an orphan. I am a child of God. I am not an orphan. I am a child of God. We can say the same thing with such power and conviction that my Father smiles upon me and says, that's my child. That child looks just like me. And how can God tell it's my kid? Because the Spirit of the living God can say, oh, there's compassion there. Oh, there's giving there. Oh, there's service there. Oh, there's love there. Oh, there's harmony there. Oh, there's forgiveness there. Oh, there he is, there she is, transforming the world with those spiritual ideas. Oh, that's my kid. That's my idea. Looks just like me. That's what I've been waiting for, the Spirit of God is saying to us in substance. You have this kind of power. This is what's beautiful about these teachings. So-called new thought, it's not new, it's just a reaction to the old way of and limited way of seeing the world. But it's ancient wisdom, the perennial religion. It is the truth. And what's beautiful about new thought, regardless of what seems to have happened in your life, regardless of any historical experience, there is a divine something always present, a divine cosmic intelligence we can tap into that has never been interrupted, that's never been in doubt, that's never been hurt. There's a seed idea planted by the Father God in each of us. And the moment we water it with our affirmation, the moment we shine on it with our proclamation, the moment we become still and contemplate its reality, it begins to burst forth as if history did not happen. Because in the mind of God, it did not. In the mind of God, any so-called sin or separation that we've been led to believe in does not and never existed. God is saying, I did not create that. That's not me. You know, a fog arose and you started sleepwalking. We did that to ourselves because God said it was all good. We made it all up after that. So we're releasing the thought form of original sin that some people may have believed in. We're releasing the thought form that somehow there's something wrong with us. Because if God is all there is, and God is all that there is, and if God is love, and God is love, and if everything that is comes from the only thing there is, there's no room for original sin. There's only room for an original blessing. The original blessing, that's God's way of seeing us. So today, the day of fathers, and if in fact there were father figures in your life that represented this kind of intelligence and follow through, we bless them. We give thanks for them. If they were not there, then you forgive them. They were doing the best they could with what they had and what they knew. And you take what they gave, you build on it, you use it as a stepping stone to go into the realm of the invisible, where the original is. Open up your heart. Throw it wide open. Do not be afraid to meet the presence of God. and say to yourself, I want to be like God. I want to be God-like. I want to be Buddha-like. I want to be Krishna-like. I want to be Martin Luther King-like. I want to be Nelson Mandela-like. I want to be Muhammad-like. I want to be Christ-like. Whatever your cultural background is, whatever your way of finding the kingdom, just open your heart with such compassion and courage for yourself. And you will begin to see that which we have been made of from the act of co-creation and creativity and materialization based upon not separation, but upon our oneness with God. The creativity that has inspired wisdom in our consciousness will give birth to a life of love and a world of compassion that God is waiting to see manifested on earth as it is in the mind of God. We will rise up and begin to see the world as one. We begin to see life on this planet as one life, God's idea. And as more individuals like you and me begin to mentor those without parent figures, giving others a hand up, as we see more people give of their time without agenda, we will begin to see that kind of activity rippling all over the planet because we realize there's only one thing going on here. Dad is waiting. God is waiting. Life is waiting for you and for me to hear, be still and know that I am God in the midst of you. Pray to behold that which is real. See it. Fall in love with being loving. Live your life as the miracle that is you. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Move to that moment of creativity by staying inspired every moment that you get. So that every time you fall, you find a way for you to act, to begin inspired by God through prayer, with the idea of love and joy and life in your experience. And then watch the world turn right side up from its upside down way. Because you're seeing aright. You're seeing the oneness of God. Oh, it's Father's Day. God is saying to you, I know who you are. You are the delight of God brought up before the creations of the world. That's the image of likeness you are made from. Feel it, know it, and know that this is the truth that liberates all of us and makes us free. And so it is, so we let it be. Peace and blessings to you.
Thank you for that powerful message. Extending your hand to help the plan of love to all mankind on earth. me closer to that essence of life, the power of God, universal light. Expand your mind, look deep inside. Expand your mind, lift your spirits high. Meditate, contemplate, meditate. Contemplate on the glory of God, the grace, the love that can't replace the need, the fear that separates us from that oneness of God. Just open up your heart. Let God's love inside. Just open up your heart. Christ's love inside. Open up your heart and expand your mind.
Again, I want to thank our music team. Thank you, thank you. And also to you, Reverend Trapp. That was a very inspiring message for this Father's Day. I hope all of you were well fed and filled by today's message and this ministry. Let us now prepare for our offering. Put your hands together and visualize the abundance that is yours, knowing that your contribution blesses not only this ministry, but the various organizations that we tithe to and support. We thank you for your consistency and generosity in sharing from your bounty. As you affirm our offering blessing with me, see the good flowing back to your life in expected and unexpected ways. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. See the various giving platforms shown on the screen at the end of the service. And if you miss it, check out our website or call the office during the week, and our wonderful staff will assist you. Let us close with our affirmation for the week, and we're going to do it a little differently. I'm asking you to view it on the screen and read it powerfully out loud in your personal space today. and so it is. We'll end with our traditional closing songs. Be blessed and a blessing, and join us next week. Peace be with you.